In this demonstration, we're going to take a look at the and or functions. And in addition to that, too, we're going to be using those functions within the if function. So we're essentially going to be doing a nested function. However, we are going to be making the assumption that you've already been exposed to or have used the if function, because we are going to be putting the and the or functions within the if function. So I have pulled up the Coastal Realty Agent Commissions file, which is found in the Excel Chapter 6 folder. And if we can imagine here for just a minute that you're the president of the Coastal Realty company, and we would like to give a bonus to those agents who have more than 10 years of experience, okay, more than 10 years of experience, and they have a quota that's greater than $1 million. Okay, so both of those have to be met in order for them to get a bonus. And that bonus is actually going to be 2% of their year-to-date sales. So we've got a lot of different variations here, or variables that will be used in the and function. And as I mentioned previously, we are going to be using both of these functions, the and function and the or function, within the if function. So I'm going to start out by opening up the function wizard, and if the if function isn't listed there, if you'll recall the category, it is a logical category, so the if is located there, also the and the or is located in there as well. But like I said, we're going to be using both the and the or functions within the if function. So again, we're assuming that you've looked at the if function before, but we are going to be pulling up the if function first. And then if you'll recall the three different parts to the if function, you'll have a comparison situation going on in the logical test box, and then if that comparison is true, then you put the results in the true box, and if it's false, then you put it in the false box. So we're going to be building from the if dialog box. And to start out, as you'll recall, if their experience is greater than 10 years and their yearly sales quota is greater than $1 million, then they're going to get a bonus. Again, and that bonus is going to be 2% of the year-to-date sales. So let's start building that. In the logical test, you got to identify it as being the and function, and then following that, you will put in a left parenthesis, and then in these parentheses, we will be putting what the conditions are going to be. So for the first condition, we want the experience, and I'm just clicking in the cell, which would be C9 in this particular example. If it's greater than 10, that's one of the conditions that have to be met, and then separate your conditions with a comma. Also, their yearly sales quota, which is in E9 for this particular example, has to be greater than 1 million. And you do not need to put in the dollar signs and the commas and all that. If that's all true, if both of those conditions are met, then we're going to take their year-to-date sales and we'll multiply it times 2%. If either one of those conditions or neither of those conditions are met, and I'm just noticing here I didn't put the right parenthesis up there to close that out. Sorry about that. If neither one of those conditions are met, then they don't get a bonus at all. Okay, so we'll put a 0 in there. All right, so we'll click OK. So in the first one, we know from the get-go that the experience did not reach, they don't have more than 10 years of experience, so they're not going to get a bonus. Second one, they're not. Third one, they're not. Maybe the fourth one, but if you look at their yearly sales quota, they're not over $1 million, so they're not going to get a bonus either. If you drop down to this row 15, what the agent is on that, Brad, he has 15 years of experience, so that's over 10, and his yearly sales quota is over $1 million, so he should get a bonus. So that'll pop up. So you can kind of get the idea of who's going to be getting the bonus. And obviously you could go manually and check each one of these, but if you had 100 agents, you certainly wouldn't want to do that. So the and function will help you determine quickly who gets the bonus and how much that bonus will be. So with the function in the current cell, I'm going to go ahead and autofill that down. And you can see that only 2 agents actually meet both of those criteria. Okay, so that's one example of the and function. And again, this is actually a nested function because we have a function within another function. Okay, now we're going to try another example using the OR function. And we're going to try, I just want to show you something here real quickly. If we change the AND to OR, okay, that's all we did is change it to OR, then either one of those conditions can be met, and if they are, then they get the bonus. So let's see how that affects our answers. So the first one, if we look at that individually, let me go ahead and copy that down. Okay, so for the first one, the experience, they didn't have more than 10 years experience, but they had the yearly sales quota that was over $1 million. So they're going to get a bonus. It's going to take the $1,050,000 times 2%. On the second agent, their experience was not over 10 years, and they didn't have over $1 million yearly sales, so they're not going to get a bonus. And you can kind of go down through each one of those. The agent that has, well, it's not over 10. It is right at 10. This one's they're gonna get a bonus there. This one they didn't meet the year's experience, but they had over $1 million in their yearly sales quota, so they're gonna get a bonus. So you can kind of see the difference between the and the or pretty quickly there, just by switching the actual function name. Okay, now I want to show you something else that's a little bit different when you're using text. For example, if I wanted to give a bonus to those agents who are in the residential category and they have yearly sales quota greater than $1 million again. And I haven't thought that through. I don't know if we'll have any, but if both of those conditions are met, if they're residential category and they have yearly sales over $1 million, then rather than calculating anything, there may be times when we just simply want to say yes, they get a bonus, or no, they don't. Or we may want to just say bonus, no bonus, no bonus, no bonus, yes, bonus, whatever. So if you want text to ultimately appear in the cell, we'll have to do something a little bit different. So again, back to what we're looking for here. If an agent is in the residential category and their yearly sales quota is over $1 million, then they're going to get a bonus, and we want it to just say bonus. We'll just say bonus there. So let's go back and edit what we have. First of all, we said that both of those conditions have to be met, so that's going to be an and scenario. And let's go back here just a minute. We said the category for this agent has to be, let me make sure it's in. So B9, I'll just type that in. B9 has to be equal to, and then when you're typing in any text, it has to be in quotes. Okay, so B9, so if B9 is equal to residential, and I should have left that in there, but I didn't, that yearly sales quota, which is NE9, is greater than $1 million. If that's true, they get a bonus. And again, notice I'm putting quotes in there. If it's not, it's no bonus. And I will say too, if you want it to just say 0, you can certainly do that. You can put a 0 in there. You can mix and match there. I mean, you can either have text, and then if it's false, you can put a 0, or you can have text in both of them. But if you do have text, you need to put in quotes. Okay, so back once again, notice this, both of these conditions have to be met. So the category has to be equal to residential, and you want to make sure you spell that correctly. I think it's correct. And then the number here, your yearly sales quota has to be greater than $1 million. So, all right, so we'll click OK. Notice now both of those conditions are met. It's residential and they're over $1 million, so they get a bonus. And then let me go ahead and autofill this down. So both of these conditions, if you just kind of look at these, you'll see that there's not very many that meet that criteria. So this one does. They're residential and they have over $1 million, but the rest of them don't meet those criteria. Okay, and then the same can be said with the OR function. If you replace it with OR, they're either, the condition is they either have to be residential or their yearly sales quota has to be over $1 million. Excuse me, but everything else will stay the same. So with that, probably have more people with bonuses here. So there's several now that pop up with bonuses, but you can just kind of, and I would always do this, visually check. If you had 100 of these agents that you were calculating, you'd want to spot check and make sure that your formula is correct in all of them. But if you'll notice here, let's look at this one real quick here. So that one is either residential or it's over $1 million. Now that particular one, both of those conditions were met. But let's see, there's a bonus here. Well, it's not residential, but their yearly sales quota was over $1 million. So that was either or of those, either one of those conditions were met, so they receive a bonus. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more about the and the or function. And in this particular scenario, we are looking at both of those functions being used within another function, which ultimately is referred to as a nested function.